like to welcome Singh Chaudhary. She's a writer, editor, translator. She dabbles in fiction, non-fiction, and she is a media professional, and there's a lot of exciting career that she's had till now. Let's hear it from Anu. Anu, can you tell us something about yourself? Anu? This is for Angelika Sharma. Yes, Angelika, this is a live broadcast. So if you have any questions, you can keep watching this broadcast and tell us what you have to say about it. Sorry for this interruption. I think there's a bit of a technical glitch. Angelika, I hope you heard that. This is a live broadcast and keep watching this conversation. If you have any questions to ask, please feel free to ask us. I think we're just about to get Anu back.
No, I can't.
Anu, can you hear me?
Me now? Ritu, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Anu. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
We
I
lost
can
the
hear you.
connection, so I think we'll just have to. Yeah, we'll have to do the. I lost whatever you were saying. It just the connection just went, so we'll have to do it all over again, maybe.
Right. Okay. Nothing much. I just welcomed everyone on behalf of SHEROES. My name is Rituparna, and I'm happy to welcome Manu Singh Chaudhary, who's a writer, editor, translator. She dabbles in fiction, non-fiction, writing for digital formats, for print, for television, for films, and she's a media professional and has had a very exciting career. And she's going to tell us a lot about herself and how can we make writing a very viable career option. Over to you, Anu.
Hello, everybody. I just quickly give a brief background of myself. So, writing, I even when I was a kid, I knew I wanted to write. I wanted to take up writing as a career. But when we're growing up, you're told that writing is something which doesn't fetch you any money. Writers are often broke, and they are just maybe promiscuous, and they uh, have no career per se. So you can be A, B, and C, and then probably you can be a writer. So then, in order to become that A, B, and C, I decided that journalism was something which was very close to writing. So I then went for a formal training in journalism. I studied journalism in Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and then I started working for films. I started my career with a film production house because I really wanted to understand film writing as a medium. Then again, this was like, when you're very, very young and you're all of 21 and you don't know how to go about it, then you realize that, oh, you want probably a structured thing to your career. So I came back to television news and worked with a leading news channel for about five and a half years. Again, I was writing, as in we were writing scripts, we were doing stories and all of that, but it was a different format altogether. And frankly, in hindsight, when I think about it, I think it was all by default. So my career in journalism, TV journalism, was a career by default because I had no other option. Motherhood gave a break to that. I quit NDTV when I became a mother of twins. And that is the time when I really realized what I wanted to do. So,
And Anu, I think we've lost you again.
can you hear me, Ritu? Can you now hear me?
We have it, but
Ritu, can you hear
I'm
me
sorry to interrupt, Anu, but I don't see
now?
your video. Maybe your video is switched off. I can hear you, but I can't see you. I can hear her, but I can't see her. So I
Can
think
you
your
see me
video is
now?
switched off.
Can you see me now?
Now, now I can see. Yes. Now I think you're on. Anyway, that doesn't stop you from telling your story.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so basically, then just to cut a long story short, motherhood really made me a writer because I wanted to. So it was like, when you're a mother of twins, you are raising them in a completely isolated world. You have no interaction with what's happening around you. You barely have time to either follow your career or follow anything else, any other interest. So I started writing, and I started writing on a blog, which was not. I mean, it was just. It was not fiction. It was not non-fiction. It was just and then while I could write about little things which were happening around me, and then I started writing stories. And then when you start writing stories, then you realize that, oh, somebody reads it and says that, oh, you're such a good writer, why don't you post it to literary magazines, or why don't you send it across to people? And then you start sending it across. Very, very slowly, you start getting responses, and then you start getting
I think we've lost you again, Anu. Anu, can you hear me?
which was Hindi. So there are very few.
We just lost you
Ritu,
in the middle
are
of
you
the.
saying something? Okay.
Yeah, I think we lost you in the
So,
middle of there.
what I want, we'll just, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Go
Okay.
on.
So basically, why I was sharing my journey with
I can.
everybody is writing is something where you don't follow a structured path. So it's not like you start as an intern or a trainee and then move on to the next level. You become an executive and then you move on to become a manager and to move, then you become a senior manager and so on and so forth. There's no structure to it. It's not like you start as an intern and then you move on to become a manager and so on and so forth. There's no structure to it.
We've lost the audio.
Right. Is Shrishti around? Shrishti, can you please help me with the? I think she's just losing the connection. Can you?
I
Ritu,
now
can
I
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. Yeah. The audio blinks at times. I can hear you now.
So that's really the first step that you take when you want to become a writer.
So, I mean, yes, you mentioned that it's a very unstructured path of a writer, and it's also a very, to a large extent, writing as a career is a very unorganized sector as well, because you never know which is your starting point. You don't know when you graduate to the next level, like you just said. But let's say we're talking about a novice here who has never written in her life, but is considering career options. I mean, even for those people who dabble in some form of writing, but not professionally, but maybe just as a blogger or have thoughts in their mind and want to consider writing as a career option. Can you tell us about what are the 5 point checklists to see if you have it in you to be a writer? And can we just rate it down and say, okay, we need to have this. Okay, now I'm a writer. Can you do that for us?
I think
Can you hear
yes,
me?
when we do it point wise, more clearer. So A, yeah, Ritu, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you.
So the first thing that when what we really
Anu, I think we lost you there again. I'm sorry for this little bit of a technical glitch, but we're just trying to get on with it. Anu, can you hear me? Anu, can you hear me? This is for all the viewers who've tuned in. In case you have any questions for Anu, please post it. Anu is a writer, editor, translator. She writes in fiction, non-fiction. So she'll be happy to answer your questions in case you're a budding writer or you're a writer who wants to look at a career in professional writing, in films, television, in any form of media or digital. So
okay.
let's keep the questions coming. Yeah, no, I was just
Ritu,
trying
I'm
to.
back. I'm so sorry. This was just a
No,
very
that's
bad connection. I had to change my system. So the
okay.
5 points that everybody should really look at when they really want to start out. The first thing is, like I said, the what our parents used to say: you are your best judge. Nobody knows you better than yourself. So it's really the self analysis that you'll have to do, and you know all along whether you can write or not, and we can't fool ourselves. So if you can write, you can you know that you have good observational skills. You are a compulsive communicator. You want to share and talk about things which are happening around you. It's not about the flair really. It's not about the language skills also. It is more about whether you're wanting to express yourself or not. So that's the first thing that one has to look at. If you don't fear expressing yourself, either in your, when you're writing a diary or you're going out and sharing things in the public platform, you know that okay, you have this streak of becoming a writer. You have that basics right. So there's the first thing: do the self analysis, see whether you've been wanting to share things or not. The second thing is whether you have to have a formal training or not. That's something that everybody asks me all the time. You cannot be taught to become a writer. You learn to write only by writing. That's a that's the most important point. And writing also comes with diligence. Writing also comes with a lot of practice. It's not like one fine morning you will get up and realize that, oh, I can write this and that. It doesn't happen that way. It's a long drawn process where you grow as a writer, and most importantly you grow as a human being, because when you're growing as a human being, you're growing as a man or a woman. You're also growing as a writer because you're getting the perspective. You are getting the you getting you are actually observing things, and then you know what you want to write about. So the third thing is, what do you want to write about? What is the is there a is there some kind of an expertise that you want to talk about? Not everybody can be everybody. So I can't, if I'm a writer, if I want to become a writer, if I want to pursue writing, it doesn't mean that I will become a political commentator, or I can write about sports, fashion, design, everything else under the sun. It doesn't happen that way. So the most important, so the third thing is that you have to identify what you want to write about. That can be as simple. It can be the mundane things that are happening around you. It can be as simple as that. But observe and then bring out the exclusivity out of that mundane. What is that special thing that you perceive which others can't see? So that is something, again, which comes with practice. Four, if you want to be a writer, please be an avid reader. Read as much as possible. Read what others are writing. Read what is being written around, what is contemporary fiction and fiction, or whatever contemporary writing in your field. What are others writing and thinking? That's something which is very, very important. And the last thing is, know your content. Know what you want to talk about. Work hard on it. Gather information, gather knowledge, and then start writing. So that these are the five broad points that you should really think about when you start. When you think of start, if when you want to write. So it is, if even if it's parenting, know what is being written about parenting and how will your voice be different than other parenting experts. So that's something which is very, very important.
Right. Thanks for that, Anu. We have a question here from Vivek Kumar. He says, "Is there a right age to start your career in writing?" I don't think it's never too early to start writing. Even a 3-year-old who has just got a pencil in his or her hand is doodling a story or is writing something. If you ask him very seriously, he said that I'm writing something. So I think it's never too early to write. So maybe you can share your thoughts on that.
Exactly, yeah. So Toni Morrison started writing when she was 39, and when she was raising children, and when she had a day job also. So she started writing at 39. There are people who started writing in their 50s. So no, there's no right or wrong age really. You just have to know when you want to start writing.
Yes. You mentioned that uh, you cannot be taught to become a writer, but
Yeah.
how do you know that what you're writing is worth it? You know, whether people are willing to read it, but at the end of the day, it's always about a good thought, it's always about good language, or at least appropriate, correct language. A lot of people may write and they have their nuances a bit all over the place, and they still have the ambition of becoming a good writer. So do you think a good mentor, a good coach, somebody to review your writing is very important? Can you talk about that too?
Ritu, I'm so glad you asked this question. Yes, yes, it is very important to have a good mentor or somebody who can guide you. And again, who is going to be that mentor is somebody you will have to discover yourself. So, can Anu Singh mentor A, B, and C and everybody else? I don't think so. So you like, it's like, if you want to put it that way, like you start looking out for your guru who will probably sort of quench your thirst. It's like finding the right mentor who will understand what you want to write. That mentor often comes from the inner circle that you're interacting with. It could be a close friend, it could be parent, it could be sibling, it could be a teacher, it could be somebody you've worked with, or somebody you want to work with, or somebody you want to be like. In my case, I was very, very fortunate to have people who always believed in my potential, and these were, like I said, these people always came from the inner circle. So it's really about going with your instinct. You will know who will understand you and who will not. So a mentor or a good guide is somebody who will not pull you down. You may not always write the best thing, or you may not always write the right thing, as it is said, but as you grow along, you will have to find somebody who will always find time to read what you're writing. So yes, it is very, very important to find the right mentor. In my case, I connected, other than people who were writing around me, I connected uh, with this team of writers which was called Mandali, which was writing from Bombay. Mandali was being headed by Nilesh Mishra. Nilesh was then, and he's still doing a show on Big FM for which I started writing. So the whole process of mentoring and sharing your writing helped me immensely to grow as a writer. So it's very important to get into that network, and that is something that you'll have to find yourself. So, and then in this age of social media, it's not very difficult to find. You will know that, oh, these are the kind of people that you want to hang around with when you're writing. And when we're talking about writing here, we're presuming that this is when we want to take writing as a full-fledged career option. Otherwise, if you want to write by the night and you want to write blogs and have other day jobs, it's okay to write from wherever you are. It's okay to write in isolation. You can choose your pace, you can choose your themes, you can choose the kind of people that you want to interact with. But when you want writing as a full-fledged career option and you want to go out there to fetch those opportunities, you will have to become a little aggressive in finding that right network and finding the right mentor. Over to you, Ritu.
Yeah, but when you talked about finding your own niche and what kind of a writer do you really want to be, there are all kinds of writing. Like you yourself, you write for TV, you write for
Yes,
film, you
yes.
write fiction, you write non-fiction, you write a lot in Hindi. So there are different kinds of writing that one can do. There's business writing that one can do. There is purely blog, which is more if you want to be a participant in anything which is happening around the world and you want to observe and write. You can critique something, can be a news writer. So there are all kinds of writing. So how does one identify that? What does he or she really like to do? And how does one go about that?
Oh, it's like I said, it's self-analysis again. If you love to watch a good cricket match, you will know that, oh, you understand the nitty-gritties of it, and that's something you will be comfortable writing about. If you're, say, a trained designer and if you want to write about design, nobody will be able to write better than you. It's really that you will have to figure it out yourself as to what you want to write about. And then there are times when you'll get the right opportunity at the right time. So you will have to find a voice for yourself through social media. A lot of people started writing through Twitter and Facebook and then went on to become full-fledged writers, and we all have seen such examples. In fact, I am one of them. I started writing through Facebook. Yeah, so I really call myself a Facebook writer. I know of a lot of people who started writing poetry on Facebook and later got their poetry collection published, and it became a rage. I have quite a few close friends who started writing on Facebook and are now writing for films, and this is no exaggeration. So, like I said, you will have to find those. So, little, step by step, you write something, you put it up on various platforms that are available, wait for the feedback, or maybe do not anticipate any kind of feedback. Just keep writing. It's a long drawn process, like I said. Sometimes it takes years to find the right audience, or to find any audience for that matter. But just be extremely patient. Writing is also about perseverance. Going back to your question, how do we know what we want to write about? Like I said, you will find it along the way. So there are times when you will have to do things you do not enjoy. Like for instance, I had to do things, or I still do things. I still take up assignments which I do not enjoy so much, but I take them up because they pay my bills. But as a writer, you will know that, oh, I have to write this, or I have to edit this, I have to translate this. I better do a good job out of it, even though I'm not enjoying. So that's something that we have to really keep in mind. Writing doesn't mean that you will write only what you like. Being a writer, and again, I will repeat myself, if you want writing as a full-fledged career option, when you want to write or when you're writing, you will also have to enjoy things you do not enjoy. You're forced to enjoy, because then that is what. So you can't really let go of the opportunity. So you will have to work hard on it. You will have to, probably, it's like any day job. It's like you're hating what you're doing, you're hating the current project, and yet you have to give the best to it. But that comes maybe a couple of years later. So initially, in the beginning, you can choose your voice, you can choose your things, and it's a lovely journey and all of that. And when you start establishing yourself as a writer, and for example, if I give you TV's example, so TV, all of us are like, wanting to get a break in TV because TV pays you really well, but TV becomes very mundane after a while. So you feel that you've stagnated as a writer, and it will always happen. Like all kinds of jobs, it will happen. You will feel stagnant. You will feel that, oh, you're hating what you're doing, and yet you'll have to figure a way of loving what you're doing. You'll have to reinvent yourself. You'll have to write things that you want to write about, and yet make sure that you're doing the assignments properly so that you keep getting opportunities. So it's a balance, and it's a juggle between the two worlds of writing what you want to write about and delivering well on the opportunities that you're getting.
Right. We have a question from Nidhi Shukla. She asked that you have been writing for radio, TV news. Each kind of writing requires different kinds of approach. So please tell us something about that.
A very good question, I must say. In my case, I've been very, very fortunate in getting opportunities in all these across all these verticals, and training in journalism really helped. And okay, while you're writing, you also for instance, I always cite this example. And when I started writing for radio, I didn't know anything about it, but then you learn about the format. So, what is the trick to it? The best thing is know your audience really well. Understand your audience. Who's going to be reading what you're writing? Who's the kind of people that you'll be reaching out to? So, for example, radio has a certain kind of audience. TV will have a certain kind of audience. Films will definitely have a certain kind of format and a different kind of the audience altogether. So it's a lot of hard work. You understand the medium, you understand your target group, you understand the format, listen two things, watch. So for instance, if I have to write about documentaries, probably I'll sit through the YouTube channel and watch 10 documentaries at a stretch, and then understand the scripting process of it. So like I said, it's a lot of hard work. So when you want to understand different formats before you're setting your foot, or you're venturing out to writing that, understand that format really well. How did I manage? I have no clue. I think I've just been really, really fortunate in finding the right mentors and people who just held my hands and pulled me through. But then it is really about a lot of hard work. So you have to the basic thing is you have to understand the medium really well. You have to understand the format. You have to understand the grammar of that format, and then write about it. My radio story will never work in, or probably will not work so much in print. If the same radio goes on TV, will have to be written differently. So you have to understand the grammar of each format, which is what the key is. And that comes with research, with watching, with reading, with listening, with like I said, a lot of hard work. I hope that answers Nidhi's question.
Right. But when you're beginning as a writer, there are all kinds of writers that one comes across. People, and it happens a lot, unfortunately, among women because you've taken a break from your career, like both of
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yes, you hit a jackpot, but not a lot many people get to that stage because they have been working in HR, some have been working in IT, some have had very good high profile careers and good careers for 6, 7 years, and then suddenly motherhood happens, and then they say, what can I do? And much like that, I say, okay, fine, I still need to have a career, why not start writing? But to find a foothold in the writing business or in the industry of writing, it takes them quite a lot of time, right? We've already gone through the checklist, but what are the do's and don'ts for such women when they want to become writers that you think they should go and follow? Because what I feel is that, like you mentioned, that you cannot be writing about everything under the sun. Can you help women find their niche? What are they good at? And using their the information or their career that they've lived, to use it as a skill set to write something which is going to help them augment their writing careers. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, Ritu. I take serious offense when people say that, oh, there's nothing else that we can do, so maybe we should start writing. It
Yeah,
really doesn't happen that way.
it happens
Writing
a
is
lot.
serious.
It happens a lot.
No, no, no. Writing is a serious business. It is really serious business. So if you do not write your, say, marketing material really well, if you're not doing your communication really well, your product will not work. So writing is as serious as that. It is fetching your business, and you can't really take it, as lightly as we just talked about. It's not like कुछ करने को नहीं है तो रात में बैठ के लिखते हैं, दिन में बैठ के लिखते हैं, and maybe if I can write a good Facebook status, of course it starts with that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll get you work. When I say, a lot of people have told, like you said, that I hit the jackpot. I really didn't. When people say that, oh, you're living a dream, actually I really want to tell them that it's a nightmare that I'm living. It is as nightmarish as it can get. It's a lot of hard work. It is a lot of hard work. So please, when you're talking about do's and don'ts, the first thing is, do not presume that writing will come easy. It doesn't happen that way. Like I've maintained that you have to do a lot of research, you have to understand your subject matter really well, It's all about perseverance. You'll have to wait probably for months and months altogether or years to get that right break. But you have to continue. You have to be diligent. You have to keep writing, and you have to keep expressing yourself. You have to find your foothold. So, uh, when we go back to that checklist of do's and don'ts, here are some that I probably would like to share. Do believe in what you want to do. Do believe in the fact that writing is something which can come with practice. If you have one little thing also inside you, do practice, do write a lot, create a blog, you know, go on the social media and write, explore the options available, do it diligently, make yourself a part of any kind of network, any kind of writing network. For instance, Mandli is another, so Mandli that I talked about, which Nilesh Mishra mentors, is another kind of platform which connects writers. In fact, Nilesh has a company which is called Content Project, which is really India's only writing company. So, and they're always looking out for good writers. So it does. So there are opportunities out there. It's just that you have to keep your eyes and ears open, and you have to be very, very diligent about it. Diligence is something which I have been saying over and over again, only to sort of delete that notion which is there in your head that writing can happen with anything. It doesn't happen that way, really. These are the list of do's. So, do make yourself a part of any kind of network. Oh yeah, most importantly, find the guide and the mentor. I till date, so I've been writing for about 7 years now, but till date I do writing exercises. These writing exercises can be anything from what is available on the internet to what is available in the bookshop to some kind of a writing tool or something. So it is really about working on the skill, on your skill all the time. And like I said, if you're writing, you have to be an avid reader. You have to keep your eyes and ears open. So keep yourself updated. Don't presume that it will happen automatically. Don't presume that you will hit the jackpot immediately. Don't presume that writing is easy. Please do not be, get disheartened when nothing is happening and nobody's reading you. It really is okay. You will find your reader. If you will find your audience. Everybody finds it's, if you're a niche writer or if you're something special to say about a particular subject, you will find your audience. It's a slow process, but it happens. And don't, oh, the most important thing, don't try to write about everything. You can't be writing everything. I for God's sake, I can't say, write on politics to save my life or sports for that matter. But that doesn't mean that I am not reading newspapers or I'm not making a commentary on, what is happening around me. So, but so know what you want to write about, and please remember that it will take time. Writing is a very, very slow process. Sometimes it takes a decade. So you will hear about people who took 5 years to write their first book. You will hear about people who waited for 10 years to make their first film. You'll hear about, or you'll read about people who waited for months and months together to get the first break in writing. And the other, sorry, the thumb rule that the thumb rule that I have followed is never say no to any kind of assignment which is coming to you. I still follow that, because with whatever you're doing, you're always learning. So even if you're translating, say, 1,000 words, you're learning with that. You're learning a new thing. So always try to learn new things. Never shy away from becoming this lifelong learner. So that's another very, very important thing that you must remember if you want to become a writer. Sorry, Ritu, you were saying something.
Yes, we have an interesting question. It says that this is from Subhash Sharma. He's
Yeah.
asking, is it the content or the writing style that matters the most? And he also has another question which says, when should I give up realizing that I am a bad writer, and when should I stop writing?
With the kind of question that you've asked, I don't think, Subhash, you can be a bad writer if you have that much clarity in your head. I don't think you should ever give up if you really want to do that. Never. Um, okay, whether it is about content or writing style, it's a balance of both. So good content obviously will fetch the eyeballs, it will grab the eyeballs. But writing style also is a unique thing which each writer has. So one has to work on his or her kind of writing style. So it really is a mixed thing of both. And that is something again which comes with practice. So for content, you will have to go back, do your research, read, understand the subject matter. While for the writing style, sometimes it comes inherently. You know that, oh, you're good at maybe writing a memoir, or writing it in the third person narrative, or writing it as, say, a column or something. So the writing style you will develop while you write, while you're, writing one thing after the other. But content is something where you will have to put in a lot of hard work. What is so? It's like, whatever we're reading or we're seeing around us. It's like when you're reading a good book, you know that, oh, great writing style, but the content maybe was not great. So we know inherently, if you have any inclination towards writing, you will know that you have to create the balance between the two. That is something that we always have to remember. Writing style sometimes comes inherently, sometimes you develop with time, sometimes you hone your skills. Content is again something which you continue to work on, and you again become very, so you pursue that very, very diligently. And again, I want to emphasize that I don't think you should ever give up as a writer. You will find your voice. I always believe in that.
Okay. Yes, we all write. When we talk about writing as a career, let's talk about the money. How easy or difficult is it to make money by writing? And there are all kinds of writing. So whether it's you're starting up to become a writer, or you are a subject matter expert with 8 years of experience and have never written professionally using your knowledge, and you want to begin writing then, or you are a writer who has been writing for 7 years like you, professionally, and you have a certain skill set and you write for particular clients, or particular kind of writing. So how does it pan out as a writer over a period of time, and what kind of, let's say, money or rates can one negotiate, and what is the right way to negotiate a price? That's very important.
I want to confide in you. I want to tell you that I still get paid very, very badly. But okay, jokes apart, which is why it becomes very important, because, like we said, we discussed that writing is very, very unstructured, and it is still very disorganized as a sector. And how do you judge whether A writer should be getting X amount of money, whereas B writer should be getting B amount of money? Who decides that? Sometimes the client decides that, and you don't even know whether you can control that fee or not, that the fees or not. Which is why it is very important to be in the right network, because the right network always, A, you can go back and cross check the writing fee or the professional fees or whatever. B, like I said, you will know what are the right opportunities. So it's very, very disorganized, Ritu. In the beginning, in fact, for some writers, you don't even get paid. Really, even when you're starting as a columnist, sometimes you don't get paid at all. So it takes about 2 years to reach to a point where you can say that, hello boss, I've been writing for 2 years and my columns are fairly popular, will you please pay me now? So it's as bad, it as bad as it can get. Having said that, there are certain kind of writing assignments which will fetch you money, which are very specialized writing, which is very specialized kind of writing. Business writing, for instance, content writing, for instance, writing for marketing materials, communications, or if you write for development sector, if you help them create the reports and stuff. So it's a specialized kind of writing, yes, but it fetches you good money. Fiction or non-fiction or writing erratically will get you out there where you can pay your bills. No, it doesn't happen initially. And then it's not like you land up with a film contract or a TV contract or some kind of a radio contract immediately. That also takes time. So what is the best way to go about it? I think initially, and with internet, it is possible. Initially, it is. I think you should just reach out and find the right opportunities which are available in terms of assignments. By which time you should have figured whether you're comfortable doing it or not. For instance, I cannot do business writing, but I can write for the communications. I can write for the development sector. I can create their communicate. I can help them create their communication material. So what I'm trying to say is figure what you're good at, and then look for that opportunity, those kind of opportunities in that particular sphere, and then balance the two. So when I say balance the two, find opportunities which will fetch you money, and then continue to write what you want to write about. It's a lot of hard work. So, which means that if you're writing communication materials for, say, an NGO or something at one hand, on the other, you're writing stories where you will probably find a bigger audience and probably it will give you the satisfaction. But even so, communication material will give you money, it will pay your bills, whereas writing in the format that you want to write will give you the satisfaction that you want to derive as a writer.
Hmm.
So create that balance. Be a part of some kind of a network. Go. You always remember that you'll be disorganized. Always remember that you'll have to negotiate on your fee and things like that. And oh, as writers, we always shy away from talking about money. I always do that, and which is so. Please do not feel ashamed of asking that. Hey, I'm going to write 1,500 words for that. How much are you going to pay me for that? Please be upfront. That's something again which you learn with time. So initially, you may not be able to get the kind of returns that you want, but like other independent freelance assignments, slowly and gradually you start commanding your price. So
Right.
within a couple of years you'll get there.
I'd like to add to that is that if you are confident of your writing skills and you know that you know your matter really well and you're good at presentation and you can write a good content, just stick to it at the end of the day. Reason being is that, like with everything else, when you're going buying, let's say lentils or let's say a toothbrush, there's a cheaper toothbrush available in the market than what you really want to buy. Similarly, for any kind of a writing assignment, there's always a cheaper writer trying to grab that assignment. So if you think you don't want to go down the path where you don't want to be a low pay writer, just stick to your ground. Because if the client or if you're anyone who's paying for your content wants superior content, will come around. I think that's one of the ways we as writers can really help this sector. So if you know that you're good at one kind of writing, just stick to it. Vivek Kumar has an interesting question. What are the best ways to commercialize a blog and make some money out of
That's a very interesting question. Although I've never tried to monetize my blog, it just came along the way. But there are various tools wherein you can monetize your blog. So, for instance, if you're writing on a specific matter, you could use some of your writings to you can sell that to various publications. You can use. So you monetize your blog in two ways. A, which is a very internet based thing, wherein the number of visitors who are visiting your blog, and then you're paid accordingly, which your service provider does for you. So you can take that path, but it is again very very slow and doesn't pay you so well. The second thing is, like I said, taking that content to the right kind of audience, right kind of publication houses who will probably buy that content. So that helps you fetch a column, or that helps you create a space for yourself in a medium which has a larger audience base. So that's another way of monetizing it.
there's a third way that if you know that your blog or has a particular kind of audience, say for instance, if you are a parent and you write a parenting blog and you know your audience is mostly parents, you figure out are there and your content is good and you get enough visitors to your blog. Uh, Somewhere along the line, companies or brands which are catering to parents, they will come to you saying that, okay, fine, can you feature us on your blog? We're willing to pay you. It's going to be a sponsored post. Can you write about our products and your experience? So that is a good way to monetize your blog, but you need to get to that level of readership on your blog and reach so that you can command a certain fee. But again, with that kind of writing, there's always the chance that you tend to be really nice with the client because the client is paying you money, but there's no obligation as such. I know of enough bloggers who write sponsored posts, but they're extremely brutal about the company and their product and service and whatever it is when it comes to sponsored posts. So that yes, if you are a blogger and you have a niche audience and want to reach out, so maybe you can figure out which are the companies who want to reach out to that kind of clients. Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
So most of the bloggers, in fact, when they have a niche audience, most of the bloggers, so people actually reach out to them and say that, oh, can we share your content or can we share some space on your blog? But
Yeah,
like you said, to be able to get to that level, it's a long journey, really. I mean, it takes years to reach there. So just be patient and wait; it'll happen.
right. Okay, we have another interesting question from Subhash, and he's saying, is it common to pick up ideas, written material from others, reshape it, and produce it as your own write-up? And this can work for both fiction and non-fiction. What do you have to say about this?
Okay, so an idea as a one-liner or as two lines. Nobody has a copyright on that idea, really. So, well, you have to be careful about sharing your ideas, yes, but you don't have a copyright on that idea until you've written at least a page on it or at least two paragraphs on it. So that idea becomes yours only when you've produced it in some form. You've written it in some form. Only then you have a copyright on that. And Subhash, you're absolutely right. Yes, people are using others' ideas and creating content around that, and they shamelessly call their own. But again, it's all about what kind of ethics that you want to follow as a writer. And well, how do you protect your ideas from getting stolen? That's something that the entire industry is struggling with to figure a way out of whose idea, idea A, B, or C really is. So the best thing is if you have a great idea, write a one-pager note on that and keep it safe. And then it happens. So it happens for different mediums. It works differently. For instance, if you have an idea for say TV or film, then you have a proper association where you can actually register your idea and at least you can keep your idea safe. On a blog or something, you have ways of making sure that your content is not copied and pasted anywhere else. So you can have your security measures in place where you do that. uh, but it constantly happens that because with internet, everybody's using just everybody's ideas and reproducing it as their own. That's something that we can't really, well, at least till now, do anything about. But when we raise a hue and cry, so it once happened with me that something that I'd written on my blog was taken from there as it is and it was published on somebody else's blog. So somebody published it on his or her own blog. I don't remember, this was like 3 years back. And then one has to raise an alarm and say that, hello, this was what I had written. How could you just steal it? And this was not an idea; it was a full-fledged article. So it happens. All these things will happen. You'll have to find a way of dealing with that.
Yeah. Subhash also has an interesting question. If I want to write a story, where and when should I start?
When you want to, so start now, right now. If there's something which is, अगर कीड़ा है दिमाग में तो अभी लिखिए, बस बैठ जाइए और लिखिए, just write. You will not know the structure, maybe you will not know how to write, you'll just go haywire, it'll not work, maybe you'll have to do these 10 drafts of the story, but just hang in there, keep writing. And like I said, so find the right guide and the mentor who will tell you that, oh, boss, this is not working, maybe you should write it that way. Put it up somewhere to have feedback and then improvise on it. But if there's something which is bothering you, if there is that idea in your head, you can sit, write wherever, whenever you want. So I've known of people who've written on their smartphones while traveling. We all know of people who just, scribble something or the other in their notebooks, in their diaries, and then share it later. There is no right time. It's not like you'll find some peace of mind and you'll find a corner where you can sit and write it. These are all very, very romantic ideas. Writing doesn't happen that way. So you'll just have to sit down and write. That's about it.
Nidhi, by your question, I think you're a young mom and want to become a writer. I like the question. It says, we also want to know how do you manage your time to accomplish so many things in the same go?
Oh, it's total madness. It's craziness. Like Ritu, I just told you I was working till 4:30 in the morning. I just came and came for this hangout. So you have to keep your endurance level really high, which means you're also eating right, you're exercising, you're sleeping. All these things are, these are things which our parents told us. We know that you have to have a healthy lifestyle, but it's true in any kind of profession. It's not only about writing, and it's true in any. So if you're aspiring for excellence, you will have to push yourself beyond the boundaries. You will have to sort of raise your bar all the time and keep pushing it. And it's not about me at all. It's about anybody else out there who's writing and doing things. It's when you look at their personal stories, you'll be surprised the kind of hard work and endurance that goes into it. So it really is about pushing yourself all the time, and like I said, become a lifelong learner. So every lifelong learner, every morning get up and say that, oh, these are the 3 new things that I want to do, or I want to read about, or I want to think about, or this is the new challenge that I want to take up. It's really about the attitude that you have, or you build in yourself, and it can really be built. I can tell you that, because I was very complacent some few years ago. I think motherhood taught me to push myself beyond the boundary.
Very quickly, you also are a translator.
Yeah,
So that is something which not many people do. Everyone wants to become a writer, but
yeah,
not many people understand the nuances required to become a good translator. So can you talk about it? You translate in
yeah.
Hindi, and
Yes, I translate. So
choosing
I
the right
trans.
language and
Uh, Yeah, so again, like I said, so you know that, oh, these are the two languages that it's not about Hindi and English at all, or English at all. It's about any language. Translation has
I
huge,
think we've
huge.
lost your video again. Yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Okay. So translation, like I said, this sector also has huge opportunities. In fact, there are very few translators out there. And in my case, in fact, I became a translator first, a full-fledged translator first, and then I became a writer. Because translation also puts you into a discipline where you're sitting, and even when you're working in two languages, at least you're sitting down and reading and writing and recreating in another language. So the content and the thought may not be yours, but at least you're working on the language. Uh, and in my case, I just realized that this was a great opportunity that I could, utilize. Uh, so, you have to know whether you're bilingual or you're multilingual, or which are the languages that you're comfortable with. Not everybody is comfortable with that. Not everybody can be a translator, honestly. You have to figure out whether you know the two languages really well or not. But if you do, there are huge opportunities out there in publishing houses, in television industry especially, because all the cartoon channels that you see, all the NGCs and Discovery channels that you see, everything's being dubbed into another language, at least one Indian language, from English to one Indian language. So there is dearth of good translators out there. In fact, I really make my bread and butter out of translations, and in fact, for me, it was a bigger career opportunity than writing in one language. Um, so again, it's about, so you have to know whether you're comfortable in two languages or not, and if you are, then start translating. So I know, so there's this gentleman of, and I think the best translator we've ever known, called Arunava Sinha, who's translated, his scope of work is, I think, far bigger than any original writer. So he started translating, and we started reading his posts on Facebook, and we realized that, oh, okay, so here is he's doing a great job to Bengali literature, because he's translating into English and he's bringing it to us, the non-Bengali audiences. So again, it's about finding your foothold, you're finding your niche, and like all of us can't be a good editor or a writer, not everybody can become a translator. You have to know whether you're comfortable with two languages or not, and if you are, then there are various opportunities available. You just have to Google them, honestly.
Right. I think we're now closing on to the end of the hangout. Just one last question from Subhash Sharma again. What is most satisfying for a writer, having written something exclusive, or having a large readership, or making much money from your writing?
It is, I think it's a very difficult question to answer, because each of us will have our own priorities. But okay, if you ask me what is important for me, I think to be able to give the right message to even 20 people, I'll be very happy. So if, say for instance, if I'm writing, creating some communications material for an NGO, and if I've got the right funder for that project, I think I've achieved my goal. So it really is about that. So writing, whether reaching out to a larger audience, or writing what you want to write, or fetching money, or earning through writing, you have to decide what is more satisfying for you, and you have to know what you want. Maybe it's an amalgamation of all these three things. Maybe it is none of this, and it is something else. So you will figure out while you go along that what is it that is bringing you immense satisfaction. And when you've discovered that, you know what is giving you satisfaction, you will know what you want to write about. Whether you want to write for the masses, or you want to write for the niche audience, or you want to write only to earn money, you will know. So it's a very important question that he asked. So I think that's something you will have to figure out yourself. And the battery is running low, Ritu.
Okay, I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you, Anu, for sharing your insights, and I hope it's helped everyone. Please reach out to Anu. She's very easily accessible on Facebook, and for others who have questions for her. Thank you, Anu,
Thank you
and
so much, Ritu.
all the best.
It was a
Okay,
pleasure talking to you. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
same here. Okay, bye.